besides you is Lud, okay?
Okay.
Morning.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes, sir.
Would you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that Phil Ludington is not present, so. Jeremy,
Good morning.
do you have a report, I guess?
I sent it to Augie.
Yeah, we have it.
So you got it, so calls down a little bit for November, but that's okay. So we had 73 calls, our times are still good, I think 1:07 is what we're at, so. Just hired another as-needed basic, so getting him trained or retrained, so. Other than that, things are going fairly well, so any questions?
Any questions of Jeremy? Sam?
Your report's in front of you. We had 175 911 calls for November, down from 195 the year prior. Met all of our contracted times, added 2.45 transfers, 35 treat no transports. Classes are in full swing. 4 ongoing classes, reached 44 new students this month. 4 intercepts, mutual aids, which we'll talk about, and public relations events. It's parade time, so we have 9 this month. On the second page of those 175 911 calls, you can see where they were transported. Your top line, 34 plus your not applicable, equates to your treat no transports.
How many new students did you say you had? When, I thought you said 44?
Is how many students we've taught this month in the month of November. Between EMT class, EMR class, both EMT classes, and our community first aid, CPR.
No, like you're teaching, is these like some of them high school kids?
The 1 EMT class and the 1 first responder class are in the high school. And then we have a nighttime community EMT class. And we also teach CPR, heart saver, first aid. I think you saw the article in the paper that Sean taught CPR in Spanish for one of the industries here in town.
Oh, really?
So
Okay,
that takes into account all of those students.
okay, all right.
Okay, let's talk a second about mutual aid responses to the county to the south of us. I don't know if Philip has had a chance to look over the information that I left in his office, but I did bring it to the county board to you guys at your last meeting. Our attorney has weighed in, and the Illinois compiled EMS statutes states by law we are bound to respond within 20 miles of our jurisdiction. So that does get us 20 miles south, gets you into Marshall, but it does not get you to Martinsville. Now, your county contract that you drafted, that we signed, and I don't have a copy of it in front of me, but you guys all have it, or I can email you that copy, states in there that we are required to have mutual aid agreements with our contiguous jurisdictions. So that contract binds us over the compiled statute because we take money for that contract. Tell me if I'm speaking wrong. This is lawyer language. I'm paraphrasing the lawyer in nurse language. So we have a couple of options. A, our county board chairman can speak with their county board chairman and let them know that this county is paying for 5 ambulances to cover its county, and they're paying for 2. And they need to be watchful of that. We can kind of monitor it. Option 2 is there can be an amendment to the county contract that takes out that clause of mutual aid Doesn't mean that I can't sign them, but it doesn't bind me to have them. And that makes me bound to the Illinois compiled statute, which is I have to respond within 20 miles outside of my jurisdiction if I'm requested.
Same as that 20 miles from the county line then?
No, 20 miles from we only cover 7 districts. So it's 20 miles edge of our 7 districts. So to
So
the
which
south,
would-
yes, it would be the county line.
The,
But the north, it would not be the county line. And we're bound by the river. We can't cross anyway because we're not licensed. So. Which helps preserve some of the resource here, but also gives us a legal guidance to somebody can't sue us or you all if we get a call to Greenup and we can't go and that patient dies, then there's this looming thing of who's liable. Okay, so you all will need to discuss some of your options and let Philip weigh in on that and then let me know what you come up with.
How often is it happening that you're this in an ambulance down there?
That's a great question. We ran the numbers. We were called 16 times to Clark County year to date, and 7 of those have been in the last 2 months.
Do they also then reach out to Coles County and other connecting counties because they would presumably have a similar mutual aid agreement?
There is a hierarchy of dispatch based on where the call falls in their county, but I don't know exactly which agency they reach out to. I've heard Greenup respond, that's I think a volunteer ambulance. I don't know all of the resources in that area. I know they used to have an ambulance in Casey and in West Union, and they no longer staff those either, so.
If you overlaid, if we put the state
Put the 20-mile half circle.
how many of those calls would have been in that? You see what I'm saying?
I do, and I don't have the exact number for you. It still would have been some. It
Well, I
wouldn't have
figured
been
that.
all, but it would have been some. The Marshall City proper ones for sure would fall in there. But I do have Bob Colvin drafting me a 20-mile radius map from the center of our 7 townships, so that you all can see what a 20-mile circumference that is bound by state statute.
So that would be basically south, north,
West,
and west,
correct,
because east would be,
to the state line.
right,
Mhm.
But you said that it's, Matt asked you about the county line versus the hospital. It's the 20 mile from whatever area you service.
No, it is 20 miles from your base of operations where you.
I thought I
which
misunderstood
we're
that.
pretty close to the center of
Right,
our base of
right.
operations.
Because I thought, if it's Grandview Township, I mean, you're gonna take in
Correct.
a lot of Clark County.
Exactly. No, it's
So,
20 miles.
okay, all right, that
And that's a
proves.
loose interpretation of the law. That could be definitely up for interpretation because the state statute says a 20-mile circumference. So,
Mhm.
So that affects Jeremy as well.
he's bound by the state statute as well, the Illinois EMS
No, I
regs.
was thinking that affects Jeremy being able to rely upon you.
No, he would be within our 20 miles for sure.
I'm not within 20 miles of you at the hospital.
You're not within 20 miles?
What is it, 23 to the
28,
28?
and it's further than that if you get up to the northwest corner of the county. So if Jeremy needed help, he would not be, and coming to my house, he would
Yeah,
not be able to.
the 20 mile would take up to the county line, but if it's a circle, then that far corner Quaker probably would not be.
I would still have mutual aid. Jeremy's gonna have mutual aid with me, I'm gonna have mutual aid with him, same way I have it with Kansas, same way I have it with Oakland. Right now I have it with Marshall, it's not typically reciprocal.
I understand
So,
where the root of this
Yeah,
is.
it gives
yes.
us a little bit more, safety and coverage.
Has anybody reached out to the 911 coordinator down there?
Not since that, she wrote that
Okay.
letter, no.
All right. Well, you know, in some of that documentation you gave it, you know, that 20-some-year-old mutual aid agreement that had my signature on it.
Yeah, that was the.
That was just, that was not for 911, that was just for the sheriff's department.
Correct. And that is according to the attorney, that is an interagency agreement
Right.
between two 911 centers, meaning this private
Yes.
ambulance service shouldn't sign that. It's
Yes.
dispatch to dispatch. It's
Correct.
not necessarily, like Taylor would have one with Douglas County as
Yeah.
well. It wouldn't impact us.
Yeah. Yeah, I talked to her last week and I'm having a meeting with her this week and I'm gonna talk to her about, you know, what agreements she has with all the surrounding agencies.
And our attorney did point out that the EMS compiled statute did update November 1st, which I was unaware of, so you may wanna look at that too. There wasn't a whole lot of changes, but there was a few.
Will you get that updated map with the 20-mile radius to our attorney and to the board?
Our attorney's supposed to have everything in a packet to me by Thursday, and then I'll forward it on to you.
And then we could talk about it as a board, to how we'd like to proceed, and then how maybe we could have a map made for Jeremy, District 2, to see how that affects District 2 also. We'll have to contact, maybe you wanna contact Bob Colvin and have one made up for you also, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Does that make sense?
You're saying that if you, let's say the example, you got nothing, really not a lot going on and you get and they need some help, that's not gonna exclude you from going beyond that limit, correct? But only if
We're limited,
limited in your ability to respond, then.
meaning if we don't have two responders in this county, 2 units in our district, how can we respond to their district?
Right.
But if we do have an ambulance sitting here with somebody in it and we don't respond because we're bound by contract to have 2 and that person has a bad outcome, who's liable? This is nothing about that in any of the contracts, the statutes, anything. And so there just needs to be a little bit more clarification, and an indemnification clause really is what I'm looking for overall.
That makes sense.
If you're busy taking care of the contract and there's a bad outcome.
Yeah. It's not to say we get called to a wreck on, same with them, they get called to a wreck on I-70. If we have the available resources, we go. But I'm looking at it from their angle at nighttime when they've got 1 deputy and they're in Brockton dealing with something, and Marshall or Martinsville calls for help. The way it was explained to me that the chief deputy would get out of bed if able and respond all the way out there, and I'm like, I don't know that that's really exactly what would hold up in a court of law.
Okay. Everybody on the same page, what we're doing? Okay. Anything else? Okay. Philip, do you have anything for us this morning?
I do not.
Matt?
We talked last meeting about the signs. Jimmy just showed me, got the signs made and delivered for the courthouse up there for the entrances, so we'll get those to the sheriff and make sure he gets those up. Everybody's payroll information was updated last week for the union contract for the December 1 pay bump for all full-time employees.
Correctly.
Yes, yep, I've checked everybody's, they're all right.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Tell her that
as far as
last
I'm
week a
aware.
lot,
yeah, yeah.
didn't we?
So
Augie?
I don't have anything.
Do you have anything to update?
No, not really.
How about you, Danny?
I just texted Andrew Friday, everything's going fine at the shelters, no problems.
Okay. Carl?
Did you wanna bring up about
Do
the
I
new
have to?
prop, well,
Oh, well.
yeah,
Dave Anderson lives out by New Providence Church, and he called me Friday evening and concerned about the wells that they were drilling out by his area.
Right.
There was 4 total wells. So I drove out there and I checked. There's a temporary gravel road that goes north down into the wooded area. And there's a temporary road that goes south around a pond. So I called Lisa, I don't know if you ever got hold of Dave or not. I called you and you said call Lisa. I tried to call you, I think I left a message or something, but.
well, we talked once and you left a message.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever talked to Dave about it.
I texted back and forth with him last night.
Okay. It finally ended up, he had talked to the landowner. The landowner said the wells were legal. He explained why they were drilling them. Something about back in the 70s and 80s, there was a gas line that ran through that area. And the gas line burst, and the gas had been trapped underground for years. And he said the reason why he's drilling the wells to release the gas. That's what he told me. I don't know. Did he tell you that?
Yeah, and he had some documentation on it.
So basically, it's been taken care of. I'm a little suspicious, but that's what he said, so,
Okay, well, I didn't,
yeah.
I was totally out of state, so there wasn't anything I could do
Pardon?
there. I was out of state, so I
Yeah.
couldn't help you.
I don't know what he told you, but did he tell you the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much, and interestingly, because of course I know about carbon credits from an
Yeah,
ag
right.
perspective,
Well,
but
that's what I was
they're
kind of
talking about
suspecting.
capturing carbon so
Right.
the gas companies figured this out, so they're going back looking for carbon credits that they can capture, is basically what I gather this is
Yeah.
so
about.
you talked to the landowner?
I talked to Dave, who provided me with
Okay.
some
Right,
carbon
Dave had
credit
talked to the landowner.
information.
Yeah, I,
So, my thought was, if those are CO2 pipeline monitoring wells, they better be on the Indiana side,
Yeah,
because
that's
there's
my
no
thought.
legal jurisdiction on the
Right.
Illinois.
That's
So
my
that was,
concern.
yeah,
That was my concern.
but,
Even for test wells,
Yeah.
if they're doing any test welling,
mhm.
if
No.
that's the proper term.
The
That's
story
not
sounds
legal.
kind
No.
of, the story
So that
sounds
was-
kind of suspicious. I don't know. I don't know how you
Well-
check.
Who initiated it? The drilling of the wells?
Dave Anderson, he lives out in that area.
Dave's
No.
the one who called.
He
but
called
I
me.
don't know
Call
whose ground it is.
Landowner,
The landowner did it.
yeah.
It-
Well, probably, I'm guessing the gas company
That's what I-
identified the
yeah,
right, what-
opportunity to make money on
Right.
capturing carbon credits. And so they contacted the landowner who owns that property,
Dave
so
said
they
the
could go
landowner's
in
gonna
and.
make a killing on it too. For some reason, he's gonna get paid out
I'm
of it.
sure everybody got a little piece of the
Yeah.
action.
Yeah,
well, I talked to the people at Houston Farm after you called me,
Yeah,
and they told me they knew who owned it. I got his address, the guy that farms it, I know that, I went down there twice, I drove
did you
back
see
in.
the roads? I didn't
Yeah,
go
I
back.
drove back in them,
I didn't drive by,
and, there's only one well drilled.
Right.
There's 3 other places, they've got stakes
Right.
where the new roads go back to, so eventually I figure they'll,
He sent a picture of the well too, he
Right.
sent you one.
so.
So what are I mean, I guess I kinda understand the premise for doing this, but,
That's my point.
and actually I don't. Why are they drilling?
theoretically, I guess if you burn that trapped methane, that,
It's methane?
That's methane, that's what he said, methane wells, I don't know.
Methane.
There's a sign on the one that they drilled that says methane
Yeah.
gas well.
Right.
But you said a gas pipe ruptured,
That's what, it told me, that's what
back in
Dave
the
told me.
70s or 80s.
okay?
So
It
Yeah.
wouldn't have been methane then. A gas pipe wouldn't have been methane.
I don't know.
It
I
would have
just-
been
that's
natural
what he
gas or
said,
something,
so-
right? Unless they're piping methane to get it away and then burn it off, so methane's, you don't want methane around.
No, I don't know, just.
I mean, I done a little bit of research, looking it up, like old gas wells and old oil wells, they produce, and water
Produce
wells
methane, that's what you
produce
see burning
methane.
off all the
Right,
time.
right. So,
Was there any strip mining in the area?
Not to know it.
not in there,
Okay, I just,
yeah, no.
So apparently burning the methane now is better theoretically for the climate than just releasing it.
So
And
the
so
carbon
somewhere or another, they're
credits.
getting
are
carbon
gonna-
credits for burning it.
Yeah,
So
my,
that's
my
what-
big concern when you first called me was, I know just right across the line,
Right, that's
you
what I
know,
was thinking.
that project over in Indiana.
Yeah,
But
Just-
you and I went
Just,
out.
cut- yeah, northwest of there is where one of the main wells, or center points is gonna be for that CO2
CO2,
storage.
right.
Now, it's
That's right.
not, it's not going through though at this point, is it? That
It's
was,
still
not aware of.
It's been approved, but
Yeah,
they're, you know, they're still fighting it.
okay, I guess I thought that was on the tape.
No,
No, it's on
no,
Illinois side.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
been,
And I know there's several counties in Illinois that have passed things prohibiting,
right.
you know, the CO2
Right.
projects,
Right.
putting on pause for like up to 2 years so they can do some research and stuff. Ford County was one of them, just recently voted on that, and Champaign County and others several.
Well, same like Big Oak
there's a
County, we're fighting
moratorium
it
on it
over
in
there.
Illinois,
Right.
but there's not.
So,
But Dave was basically satisfied with his answer, so
yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
fine.
based on what I
Yeah.
found out, I'm not sure.
I think you've
But
done
it's
all you
good that
can
we
do.
know
Yeah.
what's going on,
Right.
just
Yeah, thank you.
You're
looking into it
You're
for,
welcome.
for him
Just
and
concerned
for
with
the neighborhood.
You did fine.
it's on Indiana line, then we wouldn't have any say-so. He kept saying, no, it's in Illinois,
Yes,
so that's the reason why.
it's-
I
They're
went
a
ahead.
quarter mile from the state
Yeah,
line.
right,
Oh.
so.
Yep.
But it's basically, it's taken care of, so.
Yep.
I don't have anything else.
We have an elected official department head meeting on the 18th, and you and I need to talk about that, whether or not we need a planning meeting or not.
And we need to get Carl a pen, or a number of pens.
There's a whole cup of them right behind me.
So we have that on the 18th at, what are those, 2 p.m. or 10 a.m.? I can't, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. And so the last couple of times we've had just a small group planning meeting, just like enough in advance that we could post the agenda. So you and I need to talk about that.
Are you talking to Carl?
Now I'm talking to Augie.
Oh, you're talking to me, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
sorry, I'm talking to the wind.
okay.
So,
The Wayward Wind or just
the
the
wayward
wind?
wind,
Remember that song?
yes, dust in the wind.
Well, that's a
Um,
different song. The Wayward Wind was in the 50s. Not that you're young enough, you wouldn't remember that one.
She's also.
It seems like there was something else I was gonna tell
You
you.
can say, are you still there, Russ? Or you fell asleep?
No, I'm still here. I'm listening in.
You're keeping it off the.
Pretty
doors.
scintillating.
Yeah.
Are you still on the beach?
No, we're in the hotel
That
lobby
lady
check
in a
now.
deep well.
Lucky you.
Oh, already.
It's 40, it's about 50 here, Russ.
It is 75 degrees here.
I'm happy for you.
Or did.
We're all
Yeah,
feeling like
yeah.
we're happy for
Right.
you.
Yeah.
The only other thing I've been involved in, Jeff as well, is trying to, get payroll and, anything that is overdue caught up. And so we've made progress on that. Is that a joke or an agreement? There, Jeffrey?
It was a very interesting week last week on vacation.
He's up.
My wife
Jeff
is-
tried to have vacation and it just wasn't
My
working
wife
for
is
him.
still upset with me.
He was stationed in Wisconsin, yeah.
So Nancy will,
She did a good job last week.
yeah, she handled some stress well, and Nancy will be spending a little time with every department to at least go in and introduce and make sure that there's a face and a name and all that. So that's all I have.
The agenda's pretty straightforward. It's a housekeeping. Does anybody have any changes they would like to make in committee assignments? Or are you happy with the committee assignments?
Thrilled, thank you.
And as far as the dates, are we okay with the dates and everything? well, we still have any comments, we can still make changes, obviously up through Wednesday. Augie did a good job, and also working with Lawson on that. We appreciate it, Augie, thank you. Don't forget, Russ, when you get back, we'll be working with CORE a little bit on Thursday.
Yes, what time is that meeting?
11,
Okay.
and guess that's it right now.
I would like to go into closed session on
Yeah,
pending litigation and personnel.
pending litigation and personnel. Need a motion to do that. Andy moves, Dan seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Okay. We're going into closed session, folks.
You guys stay.
We can get out of session.
Oh, yes. Okay. Anything else to come before the study session this morning? Are we ready? Okay, motion to adjourn. Andy moves, Dan seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Bye.
Opposed, nay.
Thank you for your help.
We're